Chapters 7 and 8 of Miguel de Cervantes' Don Quixote mark the true beginning of the novel's enduring legacy. After the failure of his first sally, where he was beaten and returned home, Chapter 7 details the second sally, the recruitment of Sancho Panza and the destruction of his library. Chapter 8 contains the most iconic episode in Western literature, the battle with the windmills. These chapters move beyond simple parody of chivalric romances to explore profound themes, the clash between reality and illusion, the psychology of self-deception, the creation of literary metafiction, and the birth of the modern novel's signature relationship, the mad idealist and the pragmatic realist.
After the book-burning auto da fe, the curate and barber wall up Don Quixote's library. When he awakens and asks for his books, they tell him a magician named Muniton, Quixote corrects this to Friston, has carried them away on a cloud. This lie is crucial. Rather than curing Quixote, it provides him with a perfect explanation for all future contradictions. Friston becomes the paranoid's conspiracy theory, an invisible enemy who transforms giants into windmills and armies into sheep. Cervantes shows that rational attempts to combat delusion, burning books, lying, fail when the deluded mind is more creative than reality. The cure becomes the disease.
More significantly, Don Quixote recruits a simple farm laborer, Sancho Panza, as his squire. Sancho is illiterate, poor, and motivated by the promise of an island to govern. He brings his ass, a lowly, practical mount, and his alforjas, saddlebags, filled with food. He represents the earthly, the bodily, the prosaic. Yet he agrees to leave his wife and children for a fantasy. This creates the novel's central dialectic. Quixote sees what is not there. Sancho sees what is there but follows anyway. Their relationship is not master-slave, but a symbiotic madness. Quixote needs Sancho to ground him. Sancho needs Quixote to escape his miserable existence. When Sancho doubts his wife could become a queen, she is not worth 2 maravedis for a queen. Cervantes exposes the rigid class hierarchy of Golden Age Spain. The night escape, sneaking away unseen, seals their pact, leaving the community of reason behind.
As they ride across the plain of Montiel, Don Quixote spots 30 or 40 windmills. 30 or more monstrous giants, he declares, with long arms, and some have them nearly 2 leagues long. Sancho corrects him, but Quixote charges, lancing a sail. The wind turns the sails, shattering his lance and throwing him to the ground. This is not simply a joke about madness. It is a philosophical meditation on how we know what we know. Quixote sees arms where Sancho sees sails. Objectively, Sancho is correct. But Quixote's error produces action, courage, and narrative. The real world, the windmill, is inert. Quixote's imagined world is dynamic.
When defeated, Quixote does not learn from experience. He invents a new reality. That same sage Friston has turned these giants into mills. Defeat becomes proof of the enemy's power. Cervantes anticipates modern cognitive dissonance. When facts don't fit the theory, one invents a hidden force that alters the facts. The windmill also symbolizes industrial progress, crushing the archaic warrior. The old chivalric order, the lance, is shattered by the new economic order, the mill. Spain itself, clinging to feudal dreams while its economy decayed, is in the saddle with Don Quixote.
At night, the binary opposition crystallizes. Don Quixote stays awake thinking of his lady Dulcinea, emulating sleepless romance nights. His nourishment is savory recollections. Pure mind, pure spirit. Sancho sleeps soundly, his stomach full of wine, entirely body and appetite. Cervantes refuses to privilege either. Quixote's idealism is noble but pathological. Sancho's contentment is healthy but limited. The novel's genius lies in forcing these 2 modes into constant dialogue. Neither is complete without the other.
The next day, they encounter two Benedictine friars. Quixote declares they are magicians carrying a stolen princess. He attacks, unhorsing one friar. Sancho attempts to strip the fallen friar for spoils, but is beaten by muleteers. This is anti-clerical satire. The friars ride dromedaries, exaggerated mules, with spectacles and sunshades, luxurious, effeminate, and hypocritical. When freed, they made more crosses than if they had the devil after them. Piety born of terror, not faith.
Finally, a Biscayan squire challenges Quixote. They raise swords to strike. And then, the chapter ends. The author claims the original manuscript breaks off here. He could find nothing more written. This is the most famous cliffhanger in literature. By inventing a lost manuscript, which he will find in the next chapter, Cervantes becomes the editor, not the author. He invents metafiction. The cliffhanger parodies chivalric romances, but also makes a serious point. History is fragmentary, knowledge is mediated, and stories are always constructed. Cervantes is inventing the modern novel by showing us the process of storytelling.
Chapters 7 and 8 establish the permanent dynamics of Don Quixote, the Quixote-Sancho dialectic, the magical excuse of Friston, the violent collision of imagination and reality, and the self-aware narrative voice. Don Quixote loses every physical battle, but he wins the war for meaning. He transforms a farmhand into a squire, a plain into an adventure field, and a beating into a magical conspiracy. Cervantes shows that reality is not fixed. It is a story we agree to tell. The windmill remains a windmill. But for 400 years, we have looked at windmills and seen giants. That is the triumph of Don Quixote and the enduring genius of Cervantes. Please like and subscribe if you want to support the channel.